to the 406 Tech Talk, where today we're going to be talking about resolutions, reflections, and rebels. So we had a very interesting year in 2013, and we just kind of want to reflect on what we've learned and hopefully what we've shared with you through this past year. Welcome, guys.
Hi.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, I can't believe it's 2014.
I cannot either. And 2013 went so fast for me. I know, I'm sure with you guys being in this new position as technology integration specialists, it probably flew by.
It did.
This fall went so fast. I'm still writing 2013 on everything, so.
Oh,
It's still 2013
it's
to me.
It's great. It autocorrects though. So it's like, oh, that's good.
Thank you, technology.
Yes. So we wanted to talk about reflections and some of our past shows and some of the tools that we've shared and tips and those kinds of things. So what do you guys think? What's probably the highlight of our last year?
Wow. I think as a district, it has to be the levy.
Absolutely.
Passed.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
it's just, and the bond that will propel. I think those two things are amazing and are going to totally transform our district.
I agree. And you know, I think one of the things that people don't know about the technology levy is every school, there's a plan in place, and every school has a technology committee. Every school will do 2 assessments, a needs assessment for equipment and a training needs assessment. And then they also will publish a working document of an outline of what their goals are and what they've accomplished and what they want to accomplish. And we're a huge part of that. And so I think that is something that I think we need to be proud of that as a district, that we're being very purposeful and thoughtful with the money that we're receiving.
Absolutely.
And so
We've met with several of those technology committees, and many of the people that are serving on them are some very tech-savvy people, or people who are really interested in the implementation of technology, and they're very excited about what's happening in their schools, either because of the levy or that will be coming as a result of the bond that they're going to get to do and have in place, and it's exciting for them.
Yeah, and it's exciting to see the opportunities that they're now getting, I think. You know, so many teachers struggled and worked so hard to write grants and get things in their classroom, and now we're really seeing some innovative things happen. So
I think we've seen it in our videos throughout the year so far too, is all the great things our teachers are doing because they have that technology. So it's really exciting.
We'll get to see one later. We went out and visited with a teacher, an art teacher, who implemented some amazing technology. And you know, as before, she would have had them do a drawing or a painting. The kids were working in groups, and they were creating videos, and they were just making a piece of art come to life for kids.
You know, I think one of our shows could be highlighting art teachers in the district and the technology they're using, because we have several art teachers in our TILT staff development program, and the teacher that we're highlighting later is amazing. And
in our Tuesday and Thursday events, we had 3 art teachers at every single one. They volunteered Tuesdays and Thursdays to come and learn, so it was cool.
Oh, that's amazing.
I know.
Speaking of art and creativity, can I give you a quick update on the Learning Lab? And so as you know, we've got this new library. The grand opening is, I believe it's February 1st, but I might have that date wrong. They've got everything done, and the Learning Lab, which is a digital media lab for tweens and teens to come in and extend their learning from school, is getting all set up. We've got a project with Montana PBS in the process, and there's some really great things, and creativity is a huge piece with that.
It's
so
huge.
I'd love to continue to kind of keep you guys
that'd be
posted
great.
on.
And what I mean, it's a gorgeous venue over there. That library is beautiful. And what a thoughtful thing to do is to put that really 21st century, not just learning and tools, but thinking in place for the kids that are so motivated to do it.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. I think that's going to be awesome to see that just kind of blossom. So.
Well, one thing we heard from our polls is that the viewers love seeing the tools we've introduced. So we've created a Symbaloo for you. And we have a tiny URL for it.
Maybe we should explain what a tiny URL and the Symbaloo are as tools.
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah.
TinyURL is one of my very favorites.
You use it a lot.
I do use it a lot because as I'm going out into schools and doing presentations on Google and teaching the kids how to use Google, those Google, say you're going to introduce a Google form, the address is this long, and you would never.
Yeah.
I joked
X, Y,
yesterday.
T, Z, W.
Question mark. I joked yesterday with the 6th grade class, and I said, okay, everybody go drive.google.com/a/billingschools.org/blah, blah, 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 and they just looked at me like,
Is she serious?
you never do that. So what TinyURL does is it allows you to take that long string of gobbledygook and put it into something very tiny. And you can either specify a name, as we've done for you here, tinyurl.com/406tech, or name it something else that is meaningful to you, or let it name itself. But you have, instead of a 25-character long URL, you have a 10, 12.
And you can write it on the board.
Yeah, and can I just share with you one way I use it? I actually use a different tool than TinyURL. I use a tool called Bitly, and it's exactly, I mean, it's just Coke and Pepsi kind of a thing. And using that, the Bitly or TinyURL, just makes it so much more accessible for the people that we're teaching and the teachers are working with.
And if you think about, younger kids, very much younger kids, that is such a handy thing for them to be able to do, is to put in a short URL. So it's a good skill to have in teaching them a shortened version of that same thing.
Yeah.
So how about Symbaloo?
Yes. Do you want to describe Symbaloo? Would you mind?
Absolutely not at all. And I have to say, of my favorite tools, Symbaloo is probably top 5, especially because I work with so many primary classrooms. So what Symbaloo is it's a bookmarking tool it's called a social bookmarking tool, and the reason it's called a social bookmarking tool is because not only do you save your URL bookmarks, but you can share those as well. So if a teacher's putting together a collection of learning links for their students or perhaps parents, Symbaloo is that tool that you can use. And the way that it works is each URL, each website is a tile. So it's an image that represents a website. And then you have these things called web mixes, which are these collections of tiles that are related. So maybe you're doing a Civil War unit, and you find all of these primary resource links on the internet. You can put those into these individual tiles, and your collection could be about the Civil War. So we've actually put together a Symbaloo of the different tools and resources that we've either mentioned or someone else has talked about during our show.
And we have a few blanks, so we can continue to add too if people check back to the Symbaloo.
Yeah, that's one of the beautiful things I think about Symbaloo is you've got this web mix, and it kind of reminds me of, I don't know, it's just a tile board. Like you're just popping, a quilt. And you can add and take away rows and columns. So you can make this thing grow, or if you want to maybe shrink it down, you can do that too.
I've seen lots of primary classrooms where they have they open up their internet browser and the home page is their class Symbaloo. What a great idea, because then it's a launch pad for all of the things that you want your kids to go to without them having to type in a URL, tiny or big.
Right. Oh, I think that's perfect. That's a great use for it too. I think that's awesome. Tools can be technology, but they can also be people. And we have had some great opportunities to really learn what some of our IT and technical support people do in our department. And so we want to continue to celebrate them.
Slow internet? Blocked site? Let's meet the guy who has the powers to make your problems disappear.
I'm Larry Bybee. I am the network engineer here at the school district. Essentially, I am a traffic cop for network. So I help design and maintain infrastructure or roads. And whenever you want to get somewhere, I make sure that your directions are right and that you're allowed to go there and that you get there safely and quickly and there's not congestion. Usually when I'm in buildings, I'm usually either assessing where their network is where their network's at, so that we can either, because we're going to perform upgrades or we're going to do some changes, or I'm helping a tech who couldn't get out there and the network's down, they have a complete outage, or they've got a loop or something's causing problems on the network, and so I'm out there trying to fix that. I do scope and design for our network, which essentially just means that I research and make sure that we're using the right type of switches for the type of traffic that we have, that all the equipment matches and can talk well together, that it best suits our needs, because we're kind of unique. When people are always amazed to find out just how much bandwidth we use, and the fact that we're on a fiber ring.
To most of us, what Larry just said might have sounded like a foreign language, but there is one thing Larry does that we all are familiar with. You know that really annoying but really useful feature where you get blocked from a site by the Barracuda filter? Well, Larry Bybee is the guy that makes the call as to whether a site makes the cut.
Well, I usually go to the site, and you can tell by looking at a site whether it's a legit site, or whether it's a phishing site, or whether it's spam, or you can kind of tell when you're at a site if the content is if there's gonna be sections of the site where content's gonna be inappropriate for kids or inappropriate even for adults. So we try as hard as we can to keep inappropriate content out of the schools, and so I make a quick assessment there. Sometimes sometimes the site is set up in a way where we're able to allow just a portion of the site, which is kind of nice. Unfortunately, video sites don't do that. YouTube just now started to do that, where we can just allow YouTube for education and block the rest of it, so we can keep inappropriate content, time wasting. Kids would spend all day on YouTube if we'd let them. So this way, they're just allowed to get to the educational site, and then we can go and say, we would like this video added to our educational site. So we can add specific videos that teachers request.
So what is the best way to request that a site or a video be unblocked?
They contact the help desk. Both Burke and I can allow sites through YouTube. So they contact us, and I'll just go and look at it. And 9 times out of 10, probably 10 times out of 10, when they request a video, it's a legit video. They're not requesting something inappropriate. But we just take a quick look to make sure, and then we just submit a link to our YouTube education site, and then that becomes available as well.
When making a request for a blocked video or a site, please make sure you allow a little bit of extra time, because it's not just Burke or Larry that have the power to do this.
There's some time there because we submit it to them, and then I think that they verify, because they don't want to be adding content to the educational side of their site that isn't educational. It kind of defeats the purpose. So there's a couple checks and balances there. I have to check and make sure it's okay. Then I submit that link, and then the team at Google, or there's a team of people that do YouTube for schools and YouTube for education, they go through and quickly look at it.
So has the influx of new technology affected Larry Bybee?
We got some really cool levies this year that helped us inundate this elementary schools with technology, and they used it to buy Chromebooks and iPads, which is great because they're really cool with what they can do with them. But at the same time, every one of those devices uses bandwidth in some form or another, and so we did have to up our bandwidth this year, which we just did a couple months ago. We went from 300 megs to a full gig, which has been super helpful, but in form or another.
So if you need the services of a traffic cop, you've got a blocked site or a slow internet, or you just want to spend some more time getting to know this interesting fella, what should you do?
That's usually the first place to go, is through the help desk. But if you're in the middle of something or trying to teach and you're not able to connect to YouTube, or something's not working, you're certainly welcome to call me. Or if you can't get a hold of Burke at the help desk because he's on the other line, they're welcome to call me.
I know I can speak for Shelley and I think when we first started in the department, we'd heard all of these names before, but we didn't, had no face to them and didn't know what they did. And so we had to get together. At the beginning of the year, Karen Palmer had nominated the entire department for an award, and there was a photo op there where we were able to take a picture of all of them. And I thought, all right, now's my chance. I'm going to label them, and I'm going to find out what their names are and find out what they all do. And so as we've been collecting these interviews of the who's who and what they do, we've used another tool that has been such a great tool, is ThingLink.
Oh, yeah.
So what we wanted to do, I think, today is show two tools in one, a ThingLink and a Screencast. A lot of times you'll be doing something on your computer that you want to capture on your computer, whether it be a lesson or something else. There's a tool that I love to use called Screencast-O-Matic. And so we're going to use a Screencast-O-Matic to show you the ThingLink we made with all of our text. So,
Yeah.
Want to run it?
Okie dokie. So I am going to launch Screencast-O-Matic, and we just actually use the free version. There's no need. Yeah, there's no need, I don't think, you guys, to pay
Oh, no.
for Screencast-O-Matic, because you just automatically download or upload what you've created as soon as you're done. So you don't really need the features of the pro version I don't think, as a teacher.
I've been able to use it for, I think, about 4 or 5 years now with the free version. So
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Free is good.
In putting together this show, I use Screencast-O-Matic a ton.
Yeah,
so
for all
anything
those
that you see-
tutorials you've made. Yeah. So right now I've got it launched and I'm gonna press record and it counts down 3, 2, 1. And when you touch, which is basically to click on your screen, a little pop-up comes up. And Karen is right here, but Anne's done a great job of saying what their job is and then embedding a video if we've had a who's who and what they do for that one.
So as we get video, does the thing turn red?
Yeah.
And so Larry, when I
there's
get Larry's at it today, Larry's will be red.
Instead of white. Yep, so we've already met Dina. You can see the people we've met and also see their videos. But a great thing about this is you do know who's who.
Exactly.
Yeah, I need to refer to this more often.
I think ThingLink is a good tool to point out because as like with my first tilt meeting, I had a picture of it was actually a road with a car going away and there was a street sign, where will we go this year? And I added those touch points on all different parts of it, and one was a link to a tool we were going to use, and one was a video that we were going to watch, and one was a link to our agenda. So all of those things that you can touch can lead you off to somewhere else. So it's kind of a bouncing off point.
An interactive itinerary or agenda.
Absolutely. I sat in on a training that a couple of teachers were doing for another group of teachers, and they used a ThingLink, and all they did was they took the logos of the tools and made a collage, and then they had a touch point on each one, and it went and took them to that tool so that they could
So they
you know,
kind of
walk
made
them
their
through
own Symbaloo in a way.
Yeah, very similar.
I was talking to a librarian who was at the beginning of the year thinking that she could use ThingLink as a tool to introduce her kids to the different parts of the library. So she was actually going to take a photograph of her library and put a point on each, and so then the kids could write up the description of what's found in that section and what's found in that section. And if your
What a
kids made
great
videos,
idea.
Yeah. The only thing I want to mention about ThingLink is with the interactive projectors, it's a great tool because it interactively can take you anywhere on the web. And so Jamie Jarvis actually gave me that idea. I'm just touting his wisdom, but it's a great way
Which
to
is endless.
Yeah, to utilize those interactive projectors.
That's a really good thought. You know, we kind of compiled some resolutions of our own, and
Since it's the new year.
yes, and we want to make them attainable, not crazy. So, should we share those?
Yeah,
Sure.
let's do it.
Okay. I just wanted to share my resolution with you guys. As the interim technology director, I really have no idea where my life is going to go, but I really think it's going to be crazy. And so my resolution is to take more time for personal growth. On the way into work this morning, I was listening to an NPR segment, and they were talking about life logging, and it's basically journaling about what you're doing in life and everything from the weather to what you eat, when you exercised, who you visited with, you know, those kinds of things. And they actually mentioned a tool that is a free iPad app called Saga that you can use to life log. So I'm going to try to really try and focus a little bit more on personal growth and also staying in touch with my friends. I'm afraid, you know, that I'll just get so busy I'll forget to have that. So that's my goal.
Yeah.
What about you?
My personal ones, I don't really set resolutions. We talked about them yesterday. We kind of call them goals, but we randomly set things, you know, as they come about. But I just really want to spend a little bit more time with my family.
Yeah.
Isn't that mushy?
No, that's important.
And just simple things like having dinner together, making sure we do that, especially, you know, as we work on weekends and into the evening, just making sure I've got some set time because I like my family.
Agreed.
Yeah.
They're okay.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
And I would say mine is the same.
Is yours the same too?
Get more sleep, spend more time with
Yeah,
my
you don't
family.
sleep.
Yeah, you don't sleep.
Who has time for sleeping?
I know.
You know, and I do. I really do want to take this opportunity to help people understand that the technology integration specialist position is a 9-month position. We have a teacher's contract. It's 7:30 to 3:30. But I can tell you right now that
I know, you asked us to log our volunteer hours. I was like, what?
Yeah. without a doubt, the absolute minimum amount of time that the technology integration specialist, Shelley and Ann, spend during a week overtime, without any doubt, is at least 10 hours of overtime a week. Not every 2 weeks, not anything.
It was a group effort. We wanted to combine and have another full-time person.
Yeah.
And we do it because we want to.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
we want-
Nobody's twisting your arm,
No,
right?
And when you see, and when
The
you see
teacher's
those
so
kids,
excited at
yes.
night, and
And I've learned a lot too. I feel like I've really personally learned a lot, which is a good sense of fulfillment. And so I we do it to ourselves.
Yeah.
I don't think it's because someone is making us do that. But
No, not
yeah,
at all.
I think we need to keep life in balance, and that's an
Yeah.
important thing to do. But
because our kids grow up too fast.
I
Yes.
know.
I know. When all his pants don't fit him, I'm like, what? Where did this go? How did this happen? Yeah.
How about technology goals? Do you guys have technology goals?
Well, the first thing I wrote when we were talking about this is take time off the computer. And I thought, oh, that probably is not what people want to hear.
but I
But then
think that's
Desiree said the same thing.
Yeah, I really do. Even though we are more connected than ever technologically, there's a huge disconnect socially.
Oh, that's Sherry Turkle.
Oh, yeah,
is who
yeah,
we're thinking.
you're
It's
right.
Sherry
Sherry
Turkle,
Turkle
and there's
by
that
MIT.
great 20-minute TED Talk by her
Yes.
about that more connected and yet less connected amongst each other, like talking less and
Yes,
enjoying
you're,
less.
You're right,
Sherry
Sherry Turkle.
I'm still excited by technology, but I believe, and I'm here to make the case, that we're letting it take us places that we don't want to go. Over the past 15 years, I've studied technologies of mobile communication, and I've interviewed hundreds and hundreds of people, young and old, about their plugged-in lives. And what I've found is that our little devices, those little devices in our pockets, are so psychologically powerful that they don't only change what we do, they change who we are.
Working in front of the computer all day and then going home and opening up your iPad or your laptop or whatever and continuing that connection,
Yeah.
I just don't think that's a good idea.
I don't
so
either.
that time away is, I think, important.
I think so too.
Yeah. I really want our district to know what's going on in the technology department, know where we're at with different objectives that we're doing, and to know who's who. I love that we do the who's who and what they do segment. So my technology goal is to communicate more. So.
I would say mine is to expand that who's who and what they do. I want to get out into classrooms because I think there's so many amazing things that are happening out there, like the teacher that you'll meet in a minute, but it's happening all over town.
Yeah.
And it's not just people who are using computers and using technology. They're taking what they're teaching and just taking it to another level with technology. And so I really think my technology goal out there for the rest of this year and beyond is to highlight those people and show what's happening, which will play well into your resolutions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll be picking on you to
Well,
fill
so
in
I
some
need
gaps.
to come up with a new technology goal. No.
What's yours?
Take time off the computer. You thought I was joking. No. Really, that is it.
I honestly, I still think that's a really good goal. But you know, one thing that you might not know about Shelley is she is a journaler. I'm going to use that word. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but her first, I think it was your first year in Tilt, when one of the things that Tilt teachers have to do is they have to create a digital portfolio that is a reflection and a narration on what they've learned and how they've used what they've learned. And I always used Shelley's digital portfolio as the goal that everyone should reach for because your reflecting is so good.
Well, my whole purpose for reflecting is I can't remember anything. So I have to.
It's because you want to learn.
I know.
Rich.
Well, that too. But and I do have a blog that I hope to.
I thought you were just a teacher's pet and trying to, please me or
Well, that
something.
too. No, No, but it's such an important educational tool to reflect on, oh, I did this and it didn't work, so, and what I can do better.
As Desiree was saying earlier with Saga, a life tool. It's an important life tool to look back and show that we're learning. And that's
that
good.
national board certification, which our district has more national board certified teachers than any other district in Montana, that's what it's all about, is reflecting on your practice and then taking it a step further.
So I think we've got some great goals, personal and technology goals. We'll have to keep you posted on how those go, though.
Feel free to stop and ask us.
So we've been talking about reflections and resolutions, and it's time to talk about rebels. So, and
we mean that, yes, we mean that in the best possible way.
Yes.
Because I just said I want to highlight people out there who are using technology, and I think when you think of technology, you think of just, you know, we got all of these things, as Larry Bybee said earlier in the video we watched, we got all of this influx of tools and technology into our district this year, and it's not about the technology. We sit here as technology specialists and saying it's not about the technology. So those people who do the standard teaching, but yet rebel and make it into something that's real life by throwing that technology into the mix, that's who we're calling rebels. So one amazing rebel, and I think she'd probably like to be called a rebel, is Liz Fisher. And I knew Liz as a teacher, a second grade teacher at Burlington last year, and this is her first year as an art teacher in the district. So it's a big leap for her. So we'd like for you to meet Liz to see how she brings art to life for her students. Meet Liz Fisher, expert educator and tech tinkerer. Liz may be experiencing her first year as an art teacher, but in her former life, last year, she was a beloved second grade teacher at Burlington Elementary. Liz was well known to students, parents, and colleagues throughout the school as an innovator, not just with her curriculum, but with her integration of technology. On this particular day, Liz was working with a 6th grade class at Eagle Cliffs Elementary. They had researched an artist, completed a group montage portrait of the artist, and then, individually, created biographical videos to teach about the artist. Working in groups and using a center-sized set of iPads, the students compiled their artist videos using a video editing app called Splice. This app allows users to piece together various video segments, add text for emphasis, create visually appealing transitions, and tie it all together with a theme, a frame, or even music. Once the students' videos were created, Liz packaged the artist videos with the art itself by using an augmented reality app called Aurasma. Working in a similar way to a QR code, Aurasma uses image and pattern recognition to blend the real world with content such as videos and animations. The students used the Aurasma app to scan their art, which launched an aura, in this case their Splice video, about the artist. It was obvious from the students' engagement that they were not only very proud of their projects, but more knowledgeable too. Liz is just one incredible example of how teachers all over the district are finding ways to take what they're already teaching and bring it to life with tools such as Splice and Aurasma. Way to be an educational innovator, Liz.
Wow, she is amazing.
She is.
Yeah, I really do think we should do an entire segment on art teachers. We have so many great ones, but Liz is phenomenal. So thanks, Anne, for bringing her to light.
Thanks, Liz, for letting us.
Well, I think that's all we have for this show today. I think we talked about some really good tools and met some really neat people, and we hope that our next show, I think our next show we're going to spend some time talking about troubleshooting and kind of helping everyone just maybe know a few little tips and tricks that can make using your computer
their technology resolutions come to life. Don't you think?
Absolutely. Yeah. That'd be great. So thanks for watching. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.